Are you addicted to romance like we are? Follow the journey of two soulmates in the sweet love story by Molly Summers. Erica barely left her apartment for the first 2 days she was in Castle Beach. She was busy arranging her furniture, unpacking boxes and, after calling Sebastian for permission, painting the walls. Neutral beige made sense for a rental property, but she wanted to make the place her own. So the bedroom was now painted a dark brown, a bold choice, but it worked with her white furniture and curtains. The pattern on her bedspread was pink and purple flowers, so it all balanced out the darkness of the walls. The living room was painted light blue, making the space look even larger, even with her big sectional couch and the bookshelf, where she lined up her books by subject. Most of them were romances, but she liked a good suspense novel and women's literature too. She'd ordered a pizza for dinner the first night she was here, and the leftovers had carried over to the next day, but she was sick of eating the same thing for lunch and dinner. Now that her apartment was finally in order, she contemplated whether she wanted to go to the grocery store or try out one of the many restaurants around her. Before she'd made a decision, there was a knock on the door leading out to her deck. Opening it, Erica was surprised to see a woman she didn't know standing there. She was taller than Erica, but most people were, since she was barely more than 5 feet tall and rail thin. Her blonde hair was pulled up in a top knot on her head, and when she smiled, it was so big that Erica felt like she could see all of her teeth. "Hi, there. You must be Erica Osborne." "Yes," Erica confirmed, looking at the stranger questioningly. She noticed that the woman was carrying a covered casserole dish in one hand and a huge basket full of baked goods in the other. She'd somehow managed to carry all that up the stairs. "How do you know my name?" "Oh, honey, all the locals know about you. Snatching up this place the day it went up for rent? Starting a party planning business? Cute as a button and seemingly single? You're the talk of Castle Beach." Erica wasn't sure how to feel about all that. She hadn't planned to become a hot topic of discussion and speculation in town, but there wasn't much she could do about it now. "How did you know I'm starting a party planning business? Did Sebastian tell you?" The woman's brown eyes widened. "Sebastian Bishop? Have you been getting friendly with your landlord?" No, that's not. I mean," Erica spluttered, feeling flustered. The blonde woman let out a loud laugh. "Oh, bless your heart. You're shy. Don't worry, you'll loosen up as we get to know each other. I'm Natalie Giles, by the way." "Please, come in," Erica replied, belatedly remembering her manners and stepping aside to allow the woman to enter the apartment. Natalie stepped into the kitchen, pausing for only a second to take a look around. Then she sat down the basket and the casserole dish on the kitchen island. "Are you the welcoming committee?" Erica asked as she closed the door. "That's exactly what I am," Natalie confirmed. "From the Church of the Risen Cavalry." "You guys have an actual committee?" "Yap. We all got together and put in sweets for the gift basket, but I know how hectic things can be when moving into a new place, so I made you dinner." "You read my mind," Erica said, lifting the foil to peek underneath. "It's nothing fancy, just a tater tot casserole. Comfort food. Smells great." Erica felt a warmth in her heart as she looked at what Natalie had brought her. "You hungry?" "Definitely." Erica was happy to have her first opportunity to entertain, and it was even better that she didn't have to cook. They sat at her kitchen island, one on each side, drinking lemonade and eating the casserole. Erica had never had a tater tot casserole before, but she liked it. Cheese, potato, meat. What was there not to like? Natalie talked almost non-stop while they ate, filling Erica in on all the gossip about people in town that she hadn't even met yet. It was entertaining, listening to everything happening in the community. It reminded her of a soap opera. Erica confirmed that she was starting a party planning business, skillfully avoiding the subject when Natalie asked about why she'd moved to Castle Beach. She wasn't ready to talk about it yet. But the two women hit it off, and by the time they'd each finished their portions of the casserole and eaten dessert from the basket that Natalie brought, a cheese Danish for her and a chocolate chip cookie for Erica, they were chatting like old friends and had even exchanged phone numbers. "You should consider joining our book club," Natalie said, excitement lighting up her eyes. "I couldn't help noticing your bookshelf, and I think you'll fit right in. You already have the book we just started reading. To Kill a Mockingbird. Camila picked it." "Camila? She's a college professor at Pembroke College in the next town over. There are 4 of us in the club, and we take turns picking the books we read." Natalie stood, wiping her mouth with a napkin. "I'd better go, but if you're interested, I'll text you the address of where we're meeting next time. We try to get together once a week." "That sounds great," Erica said, walking her new friend to the door. She'd already read the book, so why not? "Perfect. I'll see you next week." Natalie left, and Erica leaned against the door, smiling. It had been hard to leave all her friends behind when she moved here, and she'd been nervous about trying to make new ones. That seemed like something that was harder to do as she got older. Now she had hope. Crossing to the kitchen sink, Erica was about to start the water running to rinse off the dinner dishes and put them in the dishwasher, but when she got there, she saw that the faucet was leaking. After making sure the hot and cold water were both turned off, she let out a little sigh and picked up her phone. Hopefully, Sebastian had meant it when he said to let him know if she needed anything. The next day, Sebastian parked his truck in front of the building he was renting to Erica and grabbed his toolbox out of the passenger seat. When she called yesterday, he'd been out at a property he owned in a more residential part of town, trimming a tree that had overgrown at a house he'd been renting to a sweet old lady named Mary for nearly 10 years. It was one of the first houses he'd bought when he got into the property management business, and she had always paid her rent on time, from the very beginning. Not that he would have neglected the property if she hadn't, it just endeared her to him a little more. Sebastian understood the importance of taking care of the properties he owned. They were an investment in his future, his livelihood. He'd been told in the past that he was a good landlord, and he appreciated that, but it all came down to being responsible. He'd always been good at that. Walking to the door of the shop, he pulled it open and saw that Erica was already making great strides in getting the place transformed into a new business. She had painted the walls a soft pink color, which wasn't something he would have picked personally, but he wasn't much of a party planner either. There was a sitting area set up, with couches and a low coffee table, which had brochures and a 3-ring binder that said wedding pictures on the front in bold letters. There was music coming from a small Bluetooth speaker on the coffee table, and he recognized it as one of his brother's favorite bands, Journey. Erica was working at a round table with 4 chairs surrounding it, putting together a display with a centerpiece made of fresh flowers, a white tablecloth, and satin chair covers. He watched for a moment as she moved gracefully around the table, placing fine china in front of each seat. There was something mesmerizing about this woman, and he couldn't look away. Her dark brown hair was pulled back in a ponytail, which swayed as she moved, occasionally shaking her hips to the beat of the music. She was lost in her own world and hadn't noticed him yet. He waited until she placed the last dish down to approach and tap her on the shoulder. As he expected, she jumped and whirled around. That was why he'd waited. He didn't want to be responsible for making her drop anything so breakable. Sebastian tried not to read too much into the big smile that broke out across her face, but it still made a warm feeling bloom in the center of his chest. He'd almost forgotten how captivating her hazel eyes were. With hints of green and a core of gold, he felt like he could look at them every day and still get lost. Reminding himself that he barely knew this woman, he dismissed that thought. "Didn't mean to scare you," he told her, speaking loudly to be heard over the music. Erica pulled her cell phone out of her pocket, tapping the screen and cutting off the music. "Sorry, I didn't hear you come in." "The place is looking nice," he said, glancing around the room. "It's a work in progress, but I can't wait to get it opened up." "How did you get into this business?" he asked curiously. He'd never known anyone that did this for a living before. Well, it all started about 12 years ago when my parents celebrated their 25th wedding anniversary. I was like any typical girl in her early 20s, not sure what to do with my life. I was working at a gas station at the time. But I helped them plan the party, and it went so well that a friend of the family asked me to help her plan her son's birthday party.
Indulge in a timeless tale of love and new beginnings with this free romance. Book by Molly Summers. Get your copy free at romancereader.com/prequel.